previous video, we started by looking at the concept of probability, and we started by looking at some key terms under probability, including experiment, trial, sample space, sample point, random sampling. And on the experiment, we said that if you carry an activity and the probability, any activity whose outcome cannot be guessed or predicted with certainty, it is called an experiment. And we said that if you perform this experiment once, it is called a trial. Now, because you cannot determine the outcome of an experiment with certainty, we say that, example, if you throw a die once, we all know that on the die, the numbers on the die start from 1 to 6. All these numbers on the die, they are all possible outcomes. That is, if you throw it once, any of these numbers can appear or it can occur. And so because any of these numbers can occur, we are saying that if you pick the set of all these possible outcomes for throwing a die once, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we take the set of all the possible outcomes for throwing a die once, this is called sample space. Sample space. Now, if we decide to select some numbers from the sample space or to choose some numbers from the sample space, example, set of even numbers. If we decide to pick set of even numbers, the set of even numbers from this space will be 2, 4, and 6. This is set of even numbers from this space. Now, if we decide to select or choose set of even numbers from this space, we all know that the set of even numbers doesn't include 1, it doesn't include 3, it doesn't include 5, because these numbers doesn't share the properties of 2, 4, and 6. And so we are saying that a set of numbers or a set from the sample space that share common properties, that share the same property, is called event. It's called an event. An event. So set of even numbers from the sample space for throwing a die once is an event. Also, if we decide to pick odd numbers from this space, the odd numbers becomes an event. Even if you decide to pick numbers greater than 3, we all know that numbers greater than 3 will start from 4, 5, 6. Still, these numbers share a property here under numbers greater than 3. And so this set is also called an event, still under the sample space for throwing a die once. And so a set of numbers or a set of elements, points from the sample space that share common property is called an event. It is called an event. Now, if you throw a die once, we say that this will be the sample space. Now, throwing a die once, we all know will give us one result or a single result. In other words, the numbers on the die, if you throw it once, the numbers on the die, one number will appear from the die. One number will appear, and that one number can either be an even number or odd number or prime number. So now we are saying that if you throw a die once, you cannot have the result for throwing a die once being an even number and at the same time an odd number. You cannot have that. You cannot have the result for throwing a die once to be an even number and at the same time an odd number, because even numbers and odd numbers doesn't share the same property. And so a situation where two events cannot occur at the same time from an experiment is called mutually exclusive events. That is, if you have two events in which these two events cannot occur at the same time, or they cannot occur together from a single experiment, from a trial, these events are called mutually exclusive events. Example, throwing a die once. We are saying the result for throwing a die once cannot be an even number and at the same time odd number. So even number and odd numbers or even number and odd number as events for throwing die once. They are called mutually exclusive events. Now, the situation where two events can occur at the same time, that they can occur together from one experiment, from a single experiment or from a trial. These events are called independent events. Independent events. Example, if we decide to throw two dice once, we are saying that the result for obtaining an even number in the first throw doesn't affect the result for throwing an odd number in the second throw. In other words, we can get an even number from the first throw and an odd number from the second throw. From that single experiment that we perform for throwing the two dice once. And so these two events for throwing two dice once, is called independent events. So the event of obtaining even number and odd number for throwing two dice once, they are called independent events because they can occur together in that experiment. They can occur together or at the same time in that experiment. So take note of that. And the probability will also have what we call or. The term or. The or is used especially when we are dealing with events, more than one event in an experiment. When we are dealing with more than one event in an experiment. Example, if we throw two dice once, we can be asked to find the event or the chance of obtaining an even number, or either an even number or an odd number. That is, if two dice they are thrown once, we can be asked to find the probability for obtaining either an even number or an odd number. And so if we hear or if we see the word or in that situation or in that case, we are saying that this or means union. That is unite. That is put together the event of obtaining even number and odd number. The event of obtaining either even number or odd number. So if you see the word or, then it means union. That is combining them. And so if you are combining them, of course, you are going to do addition, uniting, putting them together. So the event of obtaining either even number or odd number. And so if we see the word or, it means union, which is the same as addition. We also have the word and. The word and. The word and is also used where we are dealing with more than one event in an experiment. So if you are asked to find the event of obtaining even number and odd number, then we are going to be getting the word and. And so this word and under probability means intersection. And that intersection stands for multiplication. That intersection stands for multiplication. Under probability, it stands for multiplication. So when you see the word and in probability, it stands for intersection, which means multiply. Multiply the chance of obtaining, let's say, even number and odd number in an experiment. Apart from this, we are going to complete this with the word probability itself. We are going to complete this session with the word probability itself. The probability here means the chance or the likelihood of a particular event occurring in an experiment. That is the chance of an event occurring in an experiment. And the chance of an event occurring in an experiment, it is not enough until we assign a numerical value to that chance. That is, if you really want to know the chance or the likelihood of a particular event occurring, until you assign it with a value, a numerical value. And we do so by doing some computation. From the experiment or from the result of an experiment. And so assigning a numerical value to the likelihood of an event occurring is what we call probability. It's what we call probability. So if you have E being a subset of the result of a particular experiment, that is sample space for a particular experiment, we are saying that to find the likelihood or the chance of that event in this space, to find the chance, which we call here probability, we are saying probability of that event will be equal to finding the sample points, that is the number of sample points in that event, that is in the set of that event, divided by the number of sample points in the space. And so this relation or ratio is what we use to assign a numerical value to the likelihood of a particular event occurring in an experiment. And so if you have an event which is a subset of a particular the outcome of a particular experiment, which we call the sample space, then we are saying that finding the probability of that will be finding the ratio of the members in that event by the members in the sample space of that experiment. And so, if you are convinced with these discussions, then we expect you to subscribe. Leave your comment at the comment section to make the discussion interactive. Let's share our knowledge on this, and also don't forget to share and like for the growth of this page. Bye bye.